Hello folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. There are things one does when one has a YouTube channel that one would not do if one did not. One of those things is subjecting myself to 49 minutes and change of Piers Morgan. Now, Piers Morgan, for those of you who are not in the UK, is a British TV journalist, host of a show called Piers Morgan Uncensored. I am not a fan of Piers Morgan. He has, to my sense, a really greasy kind of demeanor. He's absolutely not my cup of tea. And I rarely, if ever, watch him. The last time I watched, he was interviewing Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. And he was clearly favouring Conor Benn at that time. Well, today, and this possibly won't come as a surprise, he was interviewing Olexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. And he was clearly favouring Daniel Dubois. I get it. Dubois' English. Piers Morgan's English. It's a British TV show. I'm fed up to the back teeth with the disrespect shown to Alexander Usyk. But thankfully, this interview was only Daniel and Alexander. We didn't have the spectacle of Don Charles and such ilk present. We will say that Alexander Usyk's English has improved dramatically. Like, it's really rather good. He's been taking lessons. It's coming on leaps and bounds. Anyways, I'll try and go through my notes. I'll keep this sort of 10, 12 minutes. So it's a synopsis, right? If you want to go and watch Piers Morgan Uncensored, please go for it. I'll try and give a fair and unbiased assessment of what I heard. Daniel Dubois, very confident. He's very confident because he wants to win this fight in England, in London. He believes Wembley is his arena, his hometown. He absolutely believes he'll be the first to beat Usyk. He said, I see another opponent. It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a war. It's totally going to be different to the first fight. Alexander Usyk, when he was asked, how are you going to do? He said Daniel Dubois is a great fighter. He went through Daniel Dubois' record. He said he beat Anthony. Interesting. He always calls Anthony Joshua Anthony. Clearly, Usyk and AJ have developed a friendship. There's certainly, I think, a great degree of mutual respect between AJ and Usyk. And we saw that. They were meeting in, I think it was in Riyadh. They were together watching a fight. I can't remember which one it was now, but they sat next to each other. And you could see that the 24 rounds that they fought sort of bonded them together. It's one of the good things about boxing. Anyhow, he said that he went through Dubois' record. He said he beat Anthony, he beat Miller, he beat Hrgovic. But he said, look, I'm not Anthony, I'm not Miller, I'm not Hrgovic, I'm me. Then there was a lot of questions about Usyk's gapped teeth, which, I mean, really and truly, could they not have thought of better questions to ask? Anyhow, you will see it for yourself. Usyk made reference. He said, because Piers Morgan said, well, how are you different? And he said, I got gaps in my teeth. Like he was trying to be funny, right? Just like, hey, look, I'm different. But then Piers Morgan went on about the teeth. It became quite boring. Then there was an interesting section when they were both asked about their fathers. Now, Usyk's father passed away, of course, in 2012. And he spoke quite emotionally about his father. Daniel really lit up. And it was a joy to see. When he started speaking about his dad, he was like really smiled, likable, and all that sort of, miserable, I'm here to kill people, warrior, kind of melted away. And he just became a lovable kid I don't mean that disrespectfully when I say kid. He's actually substantially younger than my daughter. So when I say kid, hey, I'm an old guy. He is well young to be my kid. Younger to be my grandson almost, I think. Anyhow, he completely livened up. Very, very, very likable. And clearly he idolizes his father. Piers Morgan led him through, and it was clear that Piers Morgan was trying to coach and lead Daniel. Fair enough, Daniel, he might need help in that area. He didn't have much to say about his mom. He was asked a question about his mom, and he said, my mom's supportive. Like, he didn't really have much to say. So it's kind of, and that's private, right? It's up to him. Piers Morgan went on about how his dad had 11 kids with 2 wives and how he made millions of dollars selling posters. He got this idea in Camden Town. He went to New York. He was selling posters. But Daniel was really, really likable in that moment. So it makes me doubly certain what I've said in the past is that Daniel is a likable guy who's controlled by some very unlikable people. Then Piers Morgan went on about the low blow, controversy. I wish people would just understand it's not controversial. The ref decided it was a low blow. The WBA said it wasn't. It was a low blow. End of story, right? But Piers Morgan belabored it. Piers Morgan, boxing expert that he's not, said he didn't think it was a low blow. He thought it was a legit blow. Usyk said it was in the past. I live in the now. But that wasn't enough for Piers Morgan. Belabored it. It's a good 5-minute section. Eventually, Daniel, who said it was a legit punch, Daniel believes it was a legit punch. Usyk said, not a clean punch. He said, also, it's not a problem for me. It's a problem for the referee. And there was back and forth, nothing too heated. Piers Morgan was just being a dick, to be honest, because it was clear that neither guy really wanted to spend time on this. Like, this is a thing that lives inside Don Charles's head and other people's heads. Dubois, not so much. Usyk, not at all. Usyk eventually said, look, this was a dirty punch. Dubois said that there were political things in the background that denied him from being champion. So what does he mean? Does he mean that no matter where he'd hit Usyk, it would have been called a low blow because I didn't want Usyk to lose? Is it to do with the war in the Ukraine? What else was going on? And I fear that Daniel has been made to believe a story that's been concocted by some combination of Darth Warren and Don Charles and probably Stan Dubois. Because I actually don't believe that Daniel I do not believe that Daniel Dubois is a bad guy so much. I think he's a simple, uncomplicated guy. Anyhow, we moved on eventually from the low blow stuff. Piers Morgan, again, showing his complete lack of being read in on the story, said, what are you going to do when you go to the Wembley? There's going to be 90,000. And then he said, well, maybe there'll be like a few Ukrainians there, then maybe a few more. He settled on 70,000 British people and 20,000 Ukrainians, like numbers that he was picking out of his head. But there'll be 70,000 British fans screaming for Dubois. How will you handle this? And I'm thinking, this guy's a roadman, right? He went to Russia and beat a Russian in Russia. He beat Anthony Joshua in Wembley. Piers, come on, man. Get your briefing binders organized by your staff and read up on this stuff. He said there'll be so much noise, the crowd will be baying like the wolves bay, the oh kind of thing. Is that baying? I can't remember. Anyhow, baying for Daniel Dubois to win. Usyk said, look, the ring is my home. He said, London's my home. Clearly, he likes being in London. But he said, the ring is my home. It's me, my opponent, and the referee. All the rest doesn't worry him. I think if people are thinking that there will be 70,000 screaming British fans baying for Usyk's blood, it might be a tad high. I would not be surprised to see that there will be almost as many people cheering for Usyk as there will be for Dubois. If the comment sections on this video, this channel, sorry, and other channels I look at are anything to go by, British fans are not actually fully behind Dubois. And again, probably because of Don Charles. There was then this entirely unnecessary discourse about the war in Ukraine and the politics of that, and what does Usyk think of President Zelensky. And really, you've got an elite athlete, the heavyweight champion of the world. His country's at war. He's not a politician. He said he's not a politician. Why are you asking him political questions? So, anyways, if you want to know what his answers and the questions were, go watch Piers Morgan. Daniel Dubois was actually respectful to Usyk, even notwithstanding Piers Morgan's attempt to, stir the shit, really. He said he's a hero to his people, and that was a very, very nice thing. Usyk was very respectful of Daniel. When Usyk was asked who does he admire most in boxing, he said Muhammad Ali. He was so important. His personality, his support for people, his belief in God, his support for all people. Very nice things to say about Muhammad Ali. They, of course, share the same birthday. When Daniel Dubois was asked, he said his dad, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. Piers Morgan did try and sort of blow some smoke up Usyk's bum towards the end. He said, "You are one of the 3 best ever heavyweights." He said Ali, Lennox Lewis, and Usyk. He said, you're in the top 3 all time for all time. I felt like putting a comment on that channel saying, have you ever heard of Joe Louis? But, anyhow, George Foreman, Larry Holmes. But I decided not to. Usyk is clearly a generational great. It's up for future historians to figure out where he sits in the all-time list. It's a little premature in my view. Would he be top 3? Hard to say with a professional number of fights that he's had. But anyhow, that's something that 20, 30 years down the road, somebody will be assessing, no doubt, on whatever YouTube is then. I'll probably not be here. Just heads up, I'll be 95. I'll be very grumpy if I'm around at 95 on YouTube. Can you imagine me talking about, the equivalent to George Fox when I'm 95? Anyhow. That was about it, really. Respectful. I'm pleased that Dubois was there alone. We didn't have one of those mouth breathers that is wrapped in self-righteousness, sort of gobbing off. Usyk, total professional as always. It's going to be an interesting fight. Dubois is clearly grown up, clearly more mature, undoubtedly a better fighter than he was. It'll be interesting. I will be, of course, cheering for Olexander Usyk. He's my guy. So, there we go, 14 minutes. So you've saved yourself over 30 minutes by watching this versus watching the Piers Morgan show. But if you want to listen to Piers Morgan, have at her. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I will see you on the next video.